Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have the latest from the live radar, and for the latest UK view, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as we are now in the midst of this very warm, hot spell that we are seeing that is going to end April and start May. Temperatures today widely into the low 20s, with some even into the mid-20s. It'll be more widely mid-20s through Wednesday, and then into Thursday we're likely to see the peak of the temperatures widely into the high 20s. A few isolated spots could even get to 29 or 30 degrees. Now, there will be a pretty steep drop-off in the subsequent days. Yes, in the south, still through Friday and Saturday, still maybe mid-20s, but elsewhere temperatures will be dropping away as we see colder air coming in back from the north. And by Sunday, most are going to be in the mid-teens or even low teens, with the top temperature around 17 or 18 degrees. So a real big drop-off from Thursday to Sunday, going from a proper summer-like temperatures back to a more traditional spring day. So make sure you do enjoy the next few days. As we progress into the longer range, it does look like we'll be seeing some fairly changeable conditions into early May. Still, a lot of high pressure is expected, and if we do see that high pressure, then we could see further warm conditions. Again, probably not looking at 30 degrees, but definitely low to mid-20s is a possibility. But there will be areas of low pressure around, which could mean there's more showers, maybe longer spells of rain, or even some thunderstorms at times to keep a close eye on. So definitely more changeable, as I said, into the longer term, but hopefully things are still looking pretty decent indeed. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. Now, if you start on the live radar, you see not much is going on this evening. Calling this around 8:30 on Tuesday, and it's a very dry, very pleasant evening. Seeing the sunset, yeah, it's absolutely beautiful out there for most. Proper midsummer-like day. I couldn't believe it being out there this evening, and it's end of April. It feels like we're in mid-July with that humidity in places. Yeah, feeling really stunning out there. But unfortunately, only around for a handful of days before it does cool off, as I said, later on into the weekend. Now, if you put on the temperatures, you'll be able to see that across many inland areas, especially across the spine of England into Wales, we are still very, very warm this evening. You can see the east, where traditionally in summer it is warmest, it's still a little bit nippy there. Or not nippy, but temperatures not quite as warm and as humid as they are inland. And that is because we are still seeing a slight sea breeze. The North Sea is still pretty cold coming out of winter, so it means those areas just to the east are seeing those temperatures cooling down much faster than those further westwards. And you can see that with the West Midlands down towards the Bristol Channel, Cardiff, Bristol there, and up towards the northwest. These are the warmest spots, furthest away from that cool, cold North Sea, that sea breeze, as we see this slight east to southeasterly flow. But regardless, it is a very warm evening, and it's going to get even warmer into Wednesday. Now, do look at the latest UKV. Now, there is the risk of a bit of rain around over the next few days, potentially a few thunderstorms. Now, we're not expecting anything on Wednesday as we progress further through Wednesday. Really not expecting much going on throughout the day at all. There are going to be maybe an odd shower across northern Scotland, but once again, beautiful sunshine, dry conditions. Again, a few odd thunderstorms can break out across the Republic of Ireland and Scotland, Northern Ireland, maybe in the middle of the afternoon. But as I said, not expecting anything too major. Into Thursday, though, there could be a bit more activity. You can see a bit more activity in the north there into the morning, and progressively into the afternoon, we will start to see a little bit more activity further south. We'll see these more streaks of cloud, where we're seeing a bit of convection getting going there as we head into Thursday afternoon. And again, some activity across the Republic of Ireland, northern England, potentially across central parts of England as well. Nothing major, just a few pop-up storms, but the risk is definitely there for something a bit more substantial. It's just very much in the balance, very uncertain, so we'll have to wait and see. Beyond that, getting sort of out of Thursday, very hot day and still with very warm, humid evening, and into Friday, again, a few bits and bobs of rain around, but again, not expecting anything too major as we do head in towards Friday afternoon there. Again, a few odd showers around, a bit more in the way of cloud, especially in the north, at that as we start to see that shift in air mass. Progressively into Saturday, it will turn cooler. Again, nothing horrible yet. And you see a bit more in the way of rain starting to drift in to the north, a few showers through the morning, but still generally pretty dry. Just an overall increase in cloud and the wind coming in from the northeast. And finally, into Sunday, those conditions do start to drop off a little bit more. It is still mostly dry into the afternoon, but again, a bit more in the way of cloud down the east coast, a few odd showers, and just generally cooler conditions. If you do put on the upper air temperatures, with Thursday afternoon having seen the warmest upper air temperatures, 12 or 13 degrees there across central England. But you can see temperature collision is arriving. Much colder air coming in from the north. That could fuel a few of those thunderstorms, but also just shows you what is coming as we head towards the weekend. And then if we go all the way to Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, we'll be able to see that temperatures are so much cooler. Look at that, down towards the low single digits at best. Many areas, especially in the north and east, seeing the -3 to 5 isotherm pushing in. Proper cold air, Arctic air for early May. But again, it will be moderated quite significantly at the surface, more mid to low teens. So staying much cooler, but hopefully not lasting all too long. Now, if you do look at the 2 metre temperatures, you can see this afternoon, temperatures were widely around the 21 to 25 degree mark. Very pleasant indeed. We can actually quickly compare that to what we saw in net weather. And again, you can see 23 to 25 are our top temperature. So again, climbing by a couple of degrees every day. I suspect this could be 27 maybe through Wednesday. And I said 29 or 30 into Thursday. But you see progressively as we go into Wednesday, temperatures, as I said, will climb up again. The morning, you can see again mid-teens. If you are up early, it's not going to be really warm. It's not one of these hot summer nights where temperatures don't drop below kind of 18, 19 degrees. It's not going to be a sort of a tropical night, but it is still going to be fairly mild. Those temperatures will rise rapidly into Wednesday afternoon. And once again, temperatures widely into the low 20s, peaking at 25 to 27. So again, a couple of degrees warmer. And you see it's up and down the country, north of Scotland towards 20 degrees. Everyone is seeing these warm conditions. Now, once again, temperatures will drop away overnight, but they won't be quite as cool as they were through Tuesday night. Yes, again, a few spots, 7 to 9 degrees, but city centres maybe more towards the low to mid-teens, so not dropping away all too much. And then again, into Thursday, as we wake up in the morning, it's going to be, not too bad, 14, 15 degrees if you're up at 7, 8 a.m, but very quickly those temperatures rise, and look at this, by 3 p.m, temperatures are peaking at 27 to 29 degrees. And I do suspect we'll see an isolated 30 degrees in there somewhere. But already bigger temperature division coming in the north. So actually Thursday for northern areas is going to start to turn us a little bit cooler. So although the warmest temperatures will be coming on Thursday, tomorrow is probably the last day of widespread warm up and down the country. Northern Scotland, Northern Ireland are going to cool down quite significantly through Thursday. Into Friday, much cooler in the north and potentially a bit of a tropical night there in the far southeast, really not getting much below 16 or 17 degrees. And again, by the afternoon, still warm, still potentially 25, 26, and isolated 28 there in London, but widely cooling down. And you can see that further as we head into Saturday, where again, pretty mild overnight. And into the afternoon, again, temperatures into the low 20s. And you can see finally into Sunday, look at that, temperatures much, much colder. High single digits across the east coast. And further inland, more towards the mid-teens, and you head further westwards, maybe into the mid to higher teens. So bringing us back more towards average, or below average there. Very disappointing off the back of Thursday. In 72 hours, we're going from summer-like temperatures to mid-spring temperatures once again. But what does the longer range have in store? You can see here a picturesque pressure chart with southerly winds pushing in, but that's getting replaced with a slight northerly wind later on this week. Nothing too potent, that's why we're not seeing too much in the way of precipitation through the weekend. But there is the risk of a few excessive showers. Later on, further into May, you see low pressure creeps closer and potentially even some quite deep lows trying to move in. Always getting blocked by the high pressure. It never disappears, the high pressure, and you can see it eventually returns at 384 hours. So high pressure never fully disappears. Other runs, as we'll see in a moment, do keep it around a lot more as we head it further into May. GFS here does push it away for a time before it does return. So definitely not, abysmal, but probably not going to be seeing the bone dry, sunny, warm temperatures like we've seen over the past few days and what we're going to see over the next few days. Now, if you compare it to the latest GM, again, picturesque southerly winds, and then progressively into the weekend, much cooler northerly winds pushing in. And again, potentially some deeper lows arriving there around the 6th, 7th, 8th of May with stronger northerly winds. So this is kind of a little bit more unsettled and a little bit cooler than even the GFS with some pretty cold air masses moving in. Again, nothing crazy. It's, hovering probably around the mid-teens, probably on and off showers, nothing too terrible. But off the back of these summer-like temperatures we're seeing at the moment with the bone-dry conditions, blue skies, yeah, going to feel like we're going pretty backwards here. But, of course, it is still May. These are expected conditions. We do see northerly winds in May. We do see colder conditions. We can even see frosts this time of year. So we are just getting lucky at the moment with this warmth. Now, the ECMWF goes the other way. Instead of producing slightly colder conditions, it does encourage northerly flows, but if we look at the high pressure, it never moves away. Yes, it gets distorted. Yes, slight colder pools push through, but even out to day 10, high pressure is firmly involved. And if we look at the upper air temperatures, again, cold air flirting with our north, but generally speaking, it's probably hovering around average or above average temperatures, probably around 20 degrees, and yeah, it wouldn't be too bad. So GFS, definitely kind of the middle of the row. GM, probably the more, pessimistic option, and ECMWF definitely the optimistic option in terms of this higher pressure. So we'll have to wait and see. 3 different scenarios, but all kind of showing a similar thing with the high pressure hanging around. It's just what extent does it hang around? Now, if you look at the latest ensembles, you can see strong agreement here, very warm the next few days, and then dropping substantially through the weekend. And of course, it will be dropping much faster than that and much sooner than that in the north by sort of Thursday afternoon here. So within the next kind of 36 hours, whereas for London, it's more in the next sort of 4 days or so. You can see beyond that, temperatures hovering around average, really struggling to recover, but generally do go on a slight upwards trend there as we do progress further into May. Precipitation, though, still looks pretty minimal, which is definitely a positive. Again, not zero. So it doesn't mean we're not going to see any showers at all, just they don't look too extensive and too widespread. At least, hopefully, they won't be. Now, if you compare to the ECMWF, you can see it is broadly very similar. Big drop-off over the next few days into the weekend, going a couple of degrees below average there, and then hovering back towards average again. Up and down precipitation, nothing too major. The big thing is those 2 meter temperatures. Look how stunning it is over the next 2 or 3 days. Still 3 days of progression. Slowly dropping off for London into Friday and Saturday, and then a massive drop off into Sunday. Mid to low teens are possible, and then recovering a little bit further into May, but probably back only towards the high teens, maybe only just 20 degrees. So we'll have to wait and see what May does have in store. It doesn't look abysmal, definitely does look decent, but definitely nothing compared to what we're seeing at the moment. So do enjoy the next few days. It's unfortunate that the warmish weather is sort of dissipating away just before we go into a long bank holiday weekend. But that's just how these things go. And hopefully we do see a turn of that warmth progressively into the final month of spring. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you again for another video soon.